Good afternoon. How are you? Yeah, there's Branco here now. I'm coming to you live with cubic function. Boys and girls, like we started yesterday, today we challenge with a question. Says given f at x is equals to into bracket x plus 2, open another bracket x squared minus 6x plus 9, which translates to x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 18. Now here we are with the question says calculate the coordinates of the turning point of the graph of f. 9.1, 9.2, sketch the graph of f, clearly indicate all the intercepts with the axis as well as the turning point. And 9.3 says for which values of x will f prime at x less than 0? Question mark. And so that is the solution that we are projecting here. Guys, when we say we must calculate the turning point, we must know how to calculate the turning point of a cubic function. So I'm going to teach you a song, and the song is like this. It reads like this. It says, the words of the song says, all the turning points you first derive, you equate to 0, you solve for s, then you substitute into original. So this is how we sing it. All the turning points you first derive, you equate to 0, you solve for x, you substitute into original. One more time. All the turning points you first derive, you equate to 0, you solve for x, you substitute into original. So now we're going by the words. So 9.1, it says we first derive. So we are going to find the derivative of f, which we have the equation here. The equation we are seeing here is x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 18. So when you first derive now, let's go here. You are going to find f prime at x is equals to 3x squared minus 8x minus 3. That is the first derive now. The second in the line says you equate to 0. So after you derive, you equate it to 0. That's what you see. Then you solve for x. By solving for x, boys and girls, you must resort to the using of the quadratic formula. If you cannot use the factor method where you factorize in 2 brackets, please use the quadratic formula. And when you get the quadratic formula, you substitute your a, b, and c into the quadratic formula, and you solve for x. Now when you solve for x, this is what we come in contact with. We got x is equals to negative 1 over 3, or x is equals to 3. So after you solve for x, what do? You substitute into original. So now we take our x values, which are the 2 x values that we have solved, and substitute each of them into the original equation. The original equation is what? X cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 18. So I took minus 1 over 3 and I substituted into the original, as you can see. And now we got a turning point with minus 1 over 3 giving us 500 over 27. And then when I took positive 3 and substituted into the original equation, it also gave me 0. So my turning point coordinates is what I have written with TP and TP, showing you that is a turning point. Boys and girls, turning point is the same as stationary point. It is the same as what? Stationary point. So let's take note of that. Turning point is the same as stationary point. So if you go and they say calculate the coordinates of stationary point, you must be aware that you are calculating a turning point. Okay. Now let's go to 9.2. They said we must sketch the graph of f, and then we must clearly indicate the intercepts with the axis. So for you to sketch the graph of f, you got to calculate the x-intercept and also the y-intercept, and then also you now have your turning points, and that's it. Then you put the points in the graph. Okay. So now if you are going to calculate your x-intercept, since they already factorized this question for you from the beginning, you just put 0 in place of f of x. So here you put what? 0 in place of f of x, and you solve for each bracket there. So now you will have x plus 2 is equals to 0 to solve, or you also have x squared minus 6x plus 9 to solve. You also equate to 0 and you solve. So when you solve, the answers you get are what we call the x-intercept. So now let's see. When I solve this, x plus 2 equals to 0, my answer is equals to negative 2. X is equals to negative 2. Now I have to solve this x squared minus 6x plus 9. So where I open two brackets and put 0 here, I put one x in one bracket, another x in the another bracket. Here the factors of 9 that can give me minus 6 is 3 and 3 itself. So it's minus 3 and minus 3. So when I solve for each of them, it looks the same. So is x minus 3 is equals to 0, which when I solve, it gives me x is equals to 3. That is another x-intercept. When you have two s-intercepts that are of the same number, it tells you that point on the cubic function is going to be a turning point as well. So take note of that. So now when you calculate your x-intercept, we get this. You understand that? So when you calculate your s-intercept, you use the given function that was given. It was saying that x into bracket x plus 2 and another bracket x squared minus 6s plus 9. So when you are calculating x-intercept, you just put 0 for f at x, and then you take each bracket and solve it. So when you solve it, this is what we have as your x-intercept. X-intercept is minus 2 is to 0, and also 3 is to 0. That is your x-intercept. So knowing your x-intercept, we can now calculate your y-intercept. If you are calculating y-intercept, it means the function that was given, which was s cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x plus 18. Now you can say that everything that has got x, I'm putting 0, a big 0 in it. So this is how I did. Now when I have this, I'm calculating my y-intercept, so x must be 0. So anything in the equation that is x, I circle it with 0. And then it is left with what? Only 18. So that is your y-intercept. Your y-intercept now is 0 is to 18. Our y-intercept is 0 is to 18. So you can see is 0 is to 18. That is the coordinates of the y-intercept, is 0 is to 18. So now that I have this, I can now go and plot my points, because what is important is that I have my turning point already, because question number 9.1 says we must calculate the turning point, of which you have done. 9.2 says we must sketch, so we needed our x-intercept and y-intercept. Then we go and sketch our graph. So now you don't need to waste time here. So now this is what we have. We have our x-intercept and our y-intercept. Remember, the function was given. So now from here we are now going to sketch our cubic function. So we put the points. Our x-intercept is minus 2. You can see it here. We're picking it from where you calculated your x-intercept. And also at 3 is x-intercept. Our turning point was minus 1 over 3 is to 500 over 27. When you take your calculator and you press 500 over 27, it gives you 18,52. So now when you do that, it goes up a little bit above the y-intercept, which is 18. So now when you are here, it says you are to 10. So when we say turn, you don't go, you move, you turn, and then that is the turning. So here you are going to turn and pass through the y-intercept and come here to the 3. When you are on the 3, it also says 10. It's a turning point as well. So you turn and you go up. Remember in the question, the coefficient of x cubed is positive 1. So when the graph is positive, you are going to have a concave down and a concave up. Concave down means the arm is coming down. Concave up means the arm is going up, and you must understand that. So this is where we are, and that is the graph that needed to be sketched. So that is the graph. Now the next question says, if we go down to the question, it says, for which values of x will f prime at x be less than 0? F prime at x be less than 0. So we need to check with our solution. We need where the slope or the tangent to the curve. If you put a tangent to the curve, we want to see which side is negative or which side is the slope negative. So here, guys, boys and girls, you don't need to go far. Let's go to the question and check with the graph here. So with the graph here, we have our turning point value as negative 1/3 is to 500/27. So now when we have that and our other turning point is at 3, we need to check where our slope is negative. So one can see that as I am moving here, so the answers are the x values of the turning points, guys. So you can even draw a line here and draw another line through this point. So we are looking at where the slope is negative, sorry. So now as I am putting a line here as a tangent, you can see here my slope is positive. That means it's increasing now. When I am here, my slope is flat, is 0. This is a rest point. The turning point is also called the rest point or the stationary point. Here you rest. So your tangent is at a gradient of 0 at this point. Now when I move on this slope here, coming down to this side, my slope is going, it's a freeway. If I'm on a hilltop coming down, I am decreasing. So my slope is negative. I'm decreasing at that point. When I reach here where 3 is to 0 is, my slope is 0. When I am going this direction now, you can see that I am now beginning to increase. If you are driving, you will have to increase in terms of acceleration. But at this point, when I'm standing here and coming here, I can put my car on a neutral and the car will come here. It tells you that there's no acceleration needed here, or there's no speed needed here, unless you want to die. So, and I believe you don't want to die. So what you want to do, take the x values that is making the graph to have a negative slope. That is all about that question. So in that case, it is between this negative 1/3 is to 3. That is where our answer is. Our answer is on this arm where I'm putting a circle. So in this case, your solution to that 9.3 will be between negative 1/3 less than x and x is less than 3. That will be your solution. 9.3 is negative 1/3 less than s and is less than 1/3, because they said for which values of x will f prime at x. That means we are looking at the tangent of the curve, and then f prime at x is on the turning point. We can see that is the term we derived. So if it is on the turning point, then the values on the turning point is what we use. So we check where it is decreasing. It's less than 0 means it is decreasing. So when you go there, you find out your answer is decreasing from negative 1/3 from the top of the maximum turning point to the bottom of the minimum turning point. That is where the graph is what? Is decreasing. So we can see what is happening there. And then the answer there will be from negative 1 over 3 less than x less than 3. That is the answer. Thank you. I bring this to an end for now. We will continue with more updates on cubic function.